You already know enough to make money in trading? Read that again. You already know enough. Your problem is not your strategy. Your problem is not your indicators. Your problem is not the market. Your problem is discipline. And until you truly understand what discipline means in trading, you will keep struggling. No matter how much you learn, no matter how hard you work, no matter how many strategies you try. I've spent years helping traders understand why they fail. Not because they lack intelligence, not because they don't work hard, but because they don't understand the psychological game they're actually playing. Today I'm going to tell you the truth about discipline, real discipline, not the kind you think you have, not the kind you promise yourself you'll use tomorrow, the kind that separates consistent winners from everyone else. Stay with me, because this might be the most important video you ever watch as a trader. Here's a truth that's going to make you uncomfortable. Most of the traders I've worked with already had profitable strategies. They had systems that worked, they had edges that could make real money, and they still lost. Why? Because knowing what to do and actually doing it are two completely different things. The market does not care how many books you've read. It does not care how smart you are. It does not care how badly you need to win. The market rewards one thing only: consistent execution. And consistent execution requires discipline. Think about this honestly. How many times have you violated your own rules? How many times have you told yourself just this once? How many times have you known exactly what to do and done the opposite? That's not a strategy problem. That's a discipline problem. And no amount of technical analysis will fix it. This is hard for smart people to accept. You've been rewarded your entire life for being intelligent. You've been told that hard work pays off. You've been taught that if you study enough, you'll succeed. But the market doesn't work that way. I've seen brilliant people fail at trading. Doctors, engineers, lawyers, professors. People who succeeded in every other area of their lives, but they failed in trading because they couldn't accept uncertainty. They couldn't accept that being right doesn't always mean making money. They couldn't accept that sometimes you do everything correctly and still lose. So they kept trying to control what cannot be controlled. They kept trying to be right instead of trying to be consistent, and they lost. The market doesn't care about your effort. It doesn't care that you stayed up all night studying charts. It doesn't care that you're desperate to make this work. The market only cares about one thing: did you follow your rules or not? Before I go deeper, I need to say something real quick. Did you know that 9 out of 10 people watching this video right now are not subscribed to this channel? If this video is giving you value, if you can already feel that this is different from what you normally see, take 2 seconds right now and hit subscribe. We pour everything into making content that actually changes how you think about trading. Not entertainment, not highlights, not flexing, real truth, real psychology, real growth. Hit subscribe so you never miss a video. It genuinely means everything to us. Now, let's talk about what discipline actually means, because most traders have it completely wrong. Real discipline in trading is not about gritting your teeth and trying harder. It's not about willpower. Real discipline means one specific thing: executing your rules even when every emotion in your body is screaming at you to do something else. Taking the trade when you're afraid, cutting the loss when you're hoping, walking away when you've hit your limit, even when you're convinced the next trade will win. That is discipline. Every single trade you take is uncertain. You do not know if this trade will win or lose. You cannot know. No matter how perfect the setup looks, no matter how strong your analysis is, you do not know. And if you cannot accept that, you will never be truly disciplined, because the need to know, the need to be right, the need to control the outcome, that need will drive you to break your rules every single time. You'll move your stop loss because you don't want to be wrong. You'll add to a losing position because you're sure it'll turn. You'll take profits too early because you're scared. All of these behaviors come from the same place: the inability to accept uncertainty. Discipline means acting consistently over a series of trades. not trying to make every trade a winner, not trying to avoid every loss, just executing the same process over and over regardless of the outcome of any individual trade. That's it. That's discipline, and it's the only thing that works. Most traders don't even realize when they're being undisciplined. They think discipline only means following entry rules, but discipline breaks down in many ways. Let me describe them. See if you recognize yourself. Revenge trading. You take a loss and immediately jump back in to get your money back. You're not following your plan. You're following your emotions. You're trying to prove something to the market, and the market doesn't care about your ego. Increasing position size emotionally, you've had a few winners and you feel invincible, or you've had a few losers and you feel desperate. Either way, you increase your risk beyond your plan. This is not confidence. This is not conviction. This is lack of discipline, taking trades outside your plan. The setup isn't quite there, but it feels right, so you take it, and when it loses, you call it bad luck. It wasn't bad luck, it was a violation of your rules. Skipping trades when you're afraid. Your setup appears. Your rules say take the trade, but you skip it because the last 3 trades lost. And of course, that's the one that would have been your biggest winner of the week. That's also lack of discipline. Holding losing trades with hope. This is the most common one. Your stop loss is hit. Your plan says exit, but you don't want to accept the loss. So you hold and hope and pray, and the small loss becomes a catastrophic loss. All of these behaviors have one thing in common. You know what you're supposed to do, but you don't do it. That's the definition of undisciplined trading. And here's something most people don't want to hear. If you lack discipline in your daily life, you will lack discipline in your trading. If you're inconsistent with your habits, you'll be inconsistent with your trading. If you quit things when they get hard, you'll quit trading when it gets hard. The market doesn't change you, it reveals you. Think about your life outside of trading. Do you follow through on commitments? Do you stick to healthy habits even when you don't feel like it? Do you do the work when nobody's watching? Or do you make excuses? I'm not judging you. I'm asking you to be honest with yourself, because the patterns in your life will show up in your trading. If you're impatient in life, you'll be impatient in trading. You'll exit winners early. You'll enter before setups complete. If you avoid difficult conversations in life, you'll avoid difficult decisions in trading. You won't cut losses. You won't admit when you're wrong. The market is a mirror. It shows you exactly who you are, not who you wish you were, not who you pretend to be, who you actually are. And if you don't like what you see, trading will be painful until you change. Now let me tell you why most attempts at discipline fail. People think discipline is about willpower. They think if they just try harder, they'll be able to follow their rules. But willpower always fails. Always, because willpower is a limited resource. You force yourself to follow the rules for a while, then you take the revenge trade, then you move the stop, then you violate the plan, and then you feel guilty. You promise yourself you'll do better tomorrow, but the same cycle repeats. Why? Because you're using the wrong tool. Discipline does not come from force, it comes from belief. If you truly believe that your edge only exists over a series of trades, you will not be emotionally attached to any single trade. If you truly believe that losses are simply the cost of doing business, you will not fear them. If you truly believe that following your rules is the only thing that matters, you will not break them. The problem is not that you lack willpower. The problem is that you don't actually believe these things. You say you believe them, but your behavior shows otherwise. This is what I call thinking in probabilities. When you think in probabilities, you understand that anything can happen on any individual trade. You understand that even a strategy with a 70% win rate will lose 30% of the time, and you understand that you have no way of knowing which trades will win and which will lose. So you stop trying to predict. You stop trying to control. You simply execute over and over, because you know that if you execute enough times, The probabilities will work in your favor. So how do you actually build this kind of discipline? You build it through structure, through systems. You remove the opportunity for emotional decisions. Here's what that looks like in practice. Predefined entry rules. You know exactly what conditions must be met before you take a trade. Not, it looks good. Not, I have a feeling. Exact, objective. Criteria. When those criteria are met, you take the trade. When they're not, you don't. No exceptions. No interpretation. No flexibility. So how do you actually build this kind of discipline? You build it through structure, through systems. You remove the opportunity for emotional decisions. Here's what that looks like in practice. Predefined entry rules. You know exactly what conditions must be met before you take a trade. Not, it looks good. Not, I have a feeling. Exact, objective, criteria. When those criteria are met, you take the trade. When they're not, you don't. No exceptions, no interpretation, no flexibility. Predefined exits. You know before you enter the trade where your stop loss is, where your profit target is. You don't move them, you don't hope, you don't pray. You set them and you honor them every single time. Fixed risk per trade. You risk the same percentage of your account on every single trade. Not more when you're confident, not less when you're afraid, the same amount every time. This removes the temptation to gamble. Maximum trades per day. You have a limit, maybe 3 trades, maybe 5. But once you hit that limit, you're done. Even if you see another setup, even if you're sure it's a winner, you're done. Why does this work? Because structure removes choice. And when you remove choice, you remove emotion. You're not deciding in the moment whether to take the trade. You're simply following the rules. You're not deciding how much to risk. It's already decided. You're not deciding when to stop for the day. The system decides for you. This is how you build discipline, not through willpower, but through systems that don't require willpower. This is the difference between a trader who struggles for years and a trader who finally breaks through. One is trying to control themselves through sheer force of will. The other has built a system that controls the decisions for them. Let me tell you something that changes everything about how you see losses. Losses are not personal. They are not a reflection of your intelligence. They are not a sign of failure. Losses are simply the cost of doing business. Think about any business. A restaurant buys ingredients. Some of those ingredients will spoil. That's a cost. A retail store stocks inventory. Some of that inventory won't sell. That's a cost. In trading, losses are your cost. They are the price you pay to participate in the game, and if you cannot accept them, you cannot trade successfully. Winning traders expect losses. They know that even with a strong edge, many trades will lose, and they're okay with that. They don't get angry, they don't get discouraged, they don't question their ability, they simply move on to the next trade because they understand that the edge only exists over a series of trades, not on any individual trade. But most traders take losses personally. A loss means they were wrong, and being wrong feels bad, so they do everything to avoid being wrong. They move stops, they add to losers, they hold and hope. All in an attempt to not be wrong, but in doing so, they guarantee failure. Because you cannot avoid losses in trading, you can only manage them. Let me talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough. Bad days. Every trader has them. Days when nothing works. Days when every trade goes against you. Days when you feel like you've forgotten how to trade. These days will happen. The question is not whether they'll happen. The question is what you do when they happen. Because on a bad day, your emotions will be screaming. They'll tell you to keep trading, to get your money back, to prove you're not a bad trader. But the disciplined trader does the opposite. The disciplined trader recognizes when their discipline has broken down and stops. This is one of the most professional decisions you can ever make. Stopping when you know you're not in the right state of mind. Not because you're weak, because you're protecting your capital and protecting your psychology. Here are the rules. If you've hit your maximum losing trades for the day, stop. Don't take one more. If you notice yourself becoming emotional, angry, frustrated, desperate, stop. Your rational mind is no longer in control. If you violate a rule, stop. Don't punish yourself. Just stop for the day. Reflect. Come back tomorrow with a clear mind. Professionals protect their mindset first, money second, because they know if their mindset is damaged, they will lose money anyway. But if they protect their mindset, they can always make money back. Amateur traders do the opposite. They keep trading when they're emotional. They keep trading when they're tilted. They keep going because they don't want to give up. And they destroy their accounts. Don't be that trader. Be the trader who knows when to walk away. Because walking away on a bad day is not weakness. It's one of the highest forms of discipline that exists in trading. Now I want to talk about the most powerful tool most traders completely ignore, journaling, but not the kind most traders do. Most traders journal their trades, entry, exit, profit, loss. That's useful, but it's not enough. You need to journal your emotions, your state of mind before, during, and after each trade, because your emotions are the data that matter most. After every trade, ask yourself these questions. Did I follow my rules completely? If not, why not? What was I feeling when I entered? Confident, afraid, desperate, bored? What was I feeling when I exited? Relieved, greedy, disappointed? Did I think about moving my stop? Did I think about exiting early? Did I experience greed during the trade? Did I think about holding longer than my plan? Write all of this down. Be radically honest with yourself. No one else will see this journal. This is between you. And over time, you will see patterns. You'll see that you always get greedy after 2 winning trades. You'll see that you always get fearful after a loss. You'll see that you always violate your rules when you're bored. These patterns are invisible until you write them down, but once you see them, you can protect yourself from them. If you get greedy after 2 winners, your rule becomes reduced size on the 3rd trade. If you get fearful after a loss, your rule becomes take a break before the next trade. Self-honesty is the foundation of growth. Journaling is the tool that makes it possible. Here's something no one wants to talk about. Trading is not for everyone. And sometimes the most disciplined decision you can make is to quit. Not because you're weak, not because you're a failure, but because you've honestly assessed yourself and recognized that you cannot follow the rules. I've worked with traders who simply could not accept losses emotionally. No matter how much they understood intellectually, they could not handle being wrong. I've worked with traders who couldn't stop gambling. They understood risk management, but they could not resist the urge to go big. For these people, trading was not the right path, and recognizing that is not failure, it's wisdom. If you find that you cannot follow your rules no matter how hard you try, ask yourself this question honestly. Am I trying to make trading fit me, or am I willing to change to fit trading? Because trading requires specific psychological qualities: patience, discipline, emotional detachment, acceptance of uncertainty. If you do not have these qualities and you are not willing to develop them, trading will cost you money. It will cost you emotional energy, and it will never give you what you're looking for. But if you recognize your weaknesses and you're willing to do the work, trading can be one of the most rewarding things you ever pursue, not just because of the money, but because of who you become in the process. Let me tell you what actually happens when you commit to real discipline. When you commit to following your rules no matter what, when you commit to accepting uncertainty, when you commit to thinking in probabilities, you change, not just as a trader, as a person, because the qualities that make you a successful trader are the same qualities that make you successful in life. Patience, the ability to wait for the right opportunity instead of forcing things. Calmness, the ability to stay centered even when everything is chaotic. Consistency, the ability to do the right thing over and over even when it's boring. Emotional detachment, the ability to separate your self-worth from your outcomes. The market teaches you these things, but only if you're willing to learn, only if you're willing to be humbled, only if you're willing to let go of your ego and your need to be right. The market rewards patience. It punishes impatience. The market rewards calmness. It punishes emotional reactions. The market rewards consistency. It punishes randomness. Every single day, the market gives you feedback, and if you're paying attention, you'll realize the feedback is not really about your strategy, it's about you. Are you patient? Are you disciplined? Are you honest with yourself? The market is the ultimate feedback mechanism. It shows you exactly where you are in your development as a trader and as a person. Here's what most people don't understand about discipline. Discipline doesn't feel restrictive, it feels freeing. When you have real discipline, you stop worrying, you stop second guessing, you stop hoping and fearing every single trade. You simply execute. And there is a peace in that, a confidence, a freedom, because you know that as long as you follow your process, you are doing everything you can do. The outcome of any individual trade doesn't matter. What matters is that you executed correctly. And over time, over a series of trades, the probabilities will work in your favor. That's the freedom that discipline gives you, not the freedom to do whatever you want, but freedom from the anxiety and stress that comes from undisciplined trading. Let me bring everything together. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. You want consistency. You want to make money over time. You want to feel confident in your trading. The only way to get there is through discipline, not through a better strategy, not through more knowledge, not through harder work, through discipline. Following your rules even when it's hard, accepting losses even when they hurt, staying consistent even when you're bored, protecting your mindset even when you're tempted. This is the path. There is no shortcut. There is no hack. There is no secret. Just discipline. Day after day. Trade after trade. The market does not care about your hopes. It does not care about your fears. It does not care about your dreams or your bills or your ego. The market simply reflects back to you the quality of your decisions. And the quality of your decisions is determined by your discipline. Not occasionally, not when it's convenient, consistently, every single trade. If you take nothing else from this video, remember this: you already know enough to succeed. The question is not what you know. The question is whether you can consistently do what you know. And that is entirely a question of discipline. Trading reveals who you are. It shows you your impatience, your greed, your fear, your need to be right, your inability to accept what you can't control. These things exist in you whether you trade or not, but trading forces you to confront them. And if you're willing to do that work, if you're willing to be honest with yourself, if you're willing to build the discipline required to execute consistently, trading will change your life. Not because of the money, though the money will come, but because of who you become in the process. A person who can remain calm under pressure. A person who can accept what they cannot control. A person who can execute their plan regardless of their emotions. That person is free, and that freedom is what you're actually after. Before you go, I need to say something. You just spent this entire video with me, and I appreciate that more than you know. But here's the thing. Most people who watch this entire video are still not subscribed to this channel, and I want to ask you directly. If this video made you think differently about trading, if it gave you something real, something you're going to carry into your next session, please subscribe right now. Not for us, for you. Because we post content like this every single week. Real psychology, real truth, real growth, no fluff, no fake screenshots, no noise, just the things that actually help traders build something lasting. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and share this video with one trader in your life who needs to hear this today, because the market rewards discipline. It always has. It always will. I'll see you in the next one.